Hey, Broncos country. On this episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, it's a Super Bowl special. Like, what if? What if it would have been a little bit different and the Denver Broncos would be playing tomorrow? And what if the Broncos make it back next year? What is it going to take? We're going to talk about all that, plus some fun topics as well as we get started here on the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast right about now. Well, welcome in to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Another episode. My name, I'm Keith Brugman. I'll be your host. I got my good friend Trevor Salzman, man. Sorry for anybody that was hoping to be on here, say that one more time, that was hoping that we'd be on right at 8 o'clock. My computer decided it was going to do a major update. Maybe the Broncos are in the line for a major update in a few different spots as well as we talk about how they get back to the Super Bowl and also just what if they would have made this Super Bowl. Those are our two main topics as well as some fun stuff. Again, my name is Keith Brugman. Can't wait to get this podcast started and start rocking with all of you. Get all your thoughts and comments in as we, jump off on the Super Bowl podcast, spectacular. I don't know what you want to call it. Trevor, help bail me out, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
yeah, doing well, Keith. Looking forward to another Super Bowl. I know the Broncos are not in it, but it's always, again, like I said this on the Juice on Tuesday when we had our Super Bowl show. The Super Bowl is like another celebration. It's like another holiday. I mean, it really is. And hopefully there's some people's work out there maybe to get the next day off after the Super Bowl. I'm not sure, but because we know everybody likes it, or most people like to celebrate the Super Bowls in a different way. But I mean, again, looking forward to it. I guess you say it's happy or merry Super Bowl Eve. I guess that would be the right terms to use for this.
We'll call it that. Merry Super Bowl Eve, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But looking forward to the show, Keith, and looking forward to talking Broncos, of course, and maybe a what if scenario. Looking forward to seeing what everybody's thoughts are as well. If the Broncos would have been here, it would have been of course nice to see and excited for the city of Denver and Broncos country, but we shall never know. Unfortunately,
we shall never know, but we're gonna dream here in just a second, man. We're gonna dream. I wish I had that little wavy, everything gets like kind of dream state like effect that I could throw up right now, but we don't have that. But we're going to dream
cloud.
Nonetheless.
A little cloud above us.
Yeah, a little cloud, you know what I mean? We just kind of, zoom out into another different dimension, I guess you could say, or different reality. I got to hit our fantastic, no dream. This is a dream come true when we get to talk to our fans, man. And that's the posse, and that's who's dropping comments like Pearl coming in saying, hi, Keith and Trevor. And hello to you, Miss Pearl. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're getting all set, ready, geared up for that show on February 14th. I'll talk about that here later. Everybody better be tuning in and listening for that. Biggie Bronco saying, how's everybody doing tonight? Why is everybody talking about the New York Jets running back, Breece Hall, when the Jets have the second or third most salary cap in the NFL? He's not going to hit free agency, boys and girls. That's his thoughts, man. We'll get into some free agency, some Broncos building here a little bit. Maybe Breece Hall comes into that conversation as well, Biggie Bronco, because you're right, man. It's a guy that's been on the minds and the mouths and tongues of a lot of different Broncos podcasters and media people alike. Good friend Roy's coming in there and saying, hey, they're horsemen in the posse. I'm fine and doing well, and time to talk Broncos. Good to see you, Roy. Hope you're doing well, man. If you catch up with Roy on the personal side, man, he's been kind of had a crazy week. I'll just put it that way, Roy. If you want to share more, you certainly can. I will stay for a minute, but I really do not care about the Super Bowl. I will not be watching it. First Super Bowl I have missed in 20 years. Love you both. Love you too, Pearl. It should say great show. Great show. Not just a good show. She hopes we have a great show. Pearl, I understand, man. A lot of people might be tuning out for a lot of different reasons. I know from a Broncos perspective alone, I'll just bring that up. It is devastating. It is crushing. It is just, suck the soul out of us, Trevor, man, because as I was coming into this episode and I was kind of coming up with some ideas and some thoughts, I'm thinking through of, what if we would have taken the 3 points? What if we would have kicked that field goal? What if it was a 10-10 tie? What if we could have eked it out? What if, goodness gracious, what if Bo Nix wouldn't have got hurt? What if J.K. Dobbins would have been able to come back? What if Cortland Sutton would have made a couple more catches? I mean, lots of what ifs that were just this close. And as a lot of players have even voiced, Trevor, we're the better team. We should be there. This is the thoughts and feelings. So what better way to, I don't know, talk about a Super Bowl weekend to then maybe once again, if I could have the little cloud come around us, why not talk about this Broncos team and what they would have been doing as would have butterflies in our stomach right now, Trevor, thinking about tomorrow and the Denver Broncos teeing off against the Seattle Seahawks. Where do you want to get started on that, man?
I would just say all scenarios pointing towards Keith. I mean, Bo Nix being healthy and like everything you just said, I mean, that's probably the biggest impact there is your starting quarterback not being in the game. And then we talked about, the gap between Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix wasn't huge, and it's not huge. But here's the thing: what Bo has been able to do, his clutch, what he's been able to do late in games. He's got that confidence with his wide receivers. He's got that chemistry down with these guys. Stidham, I mean, he's just kind of thrown into the fire and just kind of see what happens. And for Bo, his mobility was a big thing, and that's something that I think was very, very much so missed when the Broncos played the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Was Bo's ability to get out of the pocket and use his legs. Stidham can't do that. He tried, and a lot of those first downs that Jarrett Stidham was not able to make, Bo Nix would have made, and they would have made it pretty easily, I would say. So the mobility thing was the biggest thing for me in that game. What you were missing for at quarterback, but again, in this scenario, we can just say, hey, Bo Nix was healthy, because going into the Super Bowl and going up against Seattle Seahawks, I think that would be the scenario probably want to start with first, because I think it's one of the most important ones.
Pearl over on YouTube, she's also reminding us that, man, how many holding calls weren't called against the Patriots? I mean, it was pretty bad, potentially even a safety at one point, if I remember correctly, in that game. I mean, it was not the best outcome for the Broncos, and a lot of things didn't go our way. But I want to put the positive spin on this, man. Let's just pretend for a moment. Let's go to the magical land of make-believe here. In front of you, over 40 people might know that reference, but we'll go to the magical land of make-believe, and we'll pretend the Denver Broncos beat the New England Patriots, and they're facing off against the Seattle Seahawks. What would you be looking at in this matchup? How would you feel about that matchup? Again, we're not getting Jarrett Stidham back. The one thing I would say is there's reports out there that J.K. Dobbins was only like 35%, potentially. I don't know if you'd even have J.K. Dobbins back. We might be running the same old, crew out there as we saw in the AFC Championship game against the Seattle Seahawks. How would you feel about that?
I mean, if you were a Bo Nix-less team, I'm not going to lie, Keith, I wouldn't feel very good about it, especially from an offensive standpoint, just because I think what Seattle's been able to do, Keith, is really built out that team very well on both sides of the ball. And they got a quarterback in Sam Darnold, who, yeah, I would say is a franchise quarterback by no means, but you have an offensive play caller in Clint Kubiak that knows what he needs to get done, and what knows and then plays to this offense strength that's running the football. The Broncos have struggled to stop the run. Yeah, you say against the Patriots, it wasn't as bad. I understand that, but James Cook, I can't get over that. Just these running backs finding ways to get the job done. And Kenneth Walker's had a pretty good season so far. I mean, he's been able to stay healthy. That's a big part of this. Seattle's offensive line has also improved more and more, it seems like, as time has gone on. But if we're talking about the Broncos having Jarrett Stidham, I still think this offense, especially with their inability to run the football, no J.K. Dobbins, I'm not going to lie, I can't go into this game. If the Broncos were able to advance and beat the Patriots and edge their way to the Super Bowl with Jarrett Stidham, yeah, I mean, I think you just at that point, you're just like, great that we got here, hoping for the best. But I mean, again, can't hold your breath. If Bo Nix is playing in this game, I got a lot more confidence, I think, in this team. And again, it's not Jarrett Stidham's fault necessarily. It's what Bo Nix has been able to do. He is a special quarterback, but against his mobility, you don't have much of a run game. I don't think people realize how much this offense relied upon Bo Nix's mobility and get outside of the pocket and just use his legs. And that's so important to have. I think when you're talking about being a head coach in the National Football League, to have just in general is a quarterback that can be mobile, that has the athletic ability to, get those first downs. Maybe when like a Jarrett Stidham, again, Stidham's athletic, but he's nowhere near as athletic as Bo Nix. He can turn those, into third and twos or second and twos. You get that extra yard, you get that extra 3 yards with Bo Nix because of his mobility. So I think there is definitely a difference there. Again, Seattle's done a great job of being able to build that roster outright just on both sides of the ball. They're a pretty dang complete team. I will say the Broncos are further along than the New England Patriots are when it comes to roster building and where their team's at. So I think that they would match up better against a team like Seattle Seahawks, and that we would see a more competitive Super Bowl than we may see come tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we're going to transition that way quite a bit. People aren't liking this. Martin saying, I don't like living in the land of what ifs. The future is bright. I'll dwell on that and enjoy the game. The last game of the season. It's a long wait until the next one. Martin, you're absolutely right. We won't dwell on this a ton. I just, it is kind of heartbreaking for me, man. We were that close. You think about that potential, and you hope for the best in that if we would have made it to the Super Bowl, we could be contenders. We could, play the game and make it competitive. But it would have been really tough, man. This would have had to been in like an all-out defensive like masterpiece by the Denver Broncos. And then, I think you have that potential. And the one thing that does make me feel a little bit good about that, I mean, let's face it, this Denver Broncos team pretty much did a number on the New England Patriots. Even if it was some bad weather at the end, I don't want to use that as an excuse on either side of the ball. This Denver Broncos defense was giving it to the New England Patriots. If it wouldn't have been for Jarrett Stidham giving it to, like literally giving the ball to the New England Patriots, we might have seen a completely different game because he pretty much handed them 7 points there with what he did. So, like I said, I won't dwell on this because I don't think it's worth dwelling on. You're probably all right, Posse. It just, for me, it's heartbreaking. I wish we were there. I wish I had all those butterflies right now, thinking about even the potential of tomorrow, even if it's a Jarrett Stidham-led team. I think it would be more like, we need Patrick Surtain and Nick Bonito to go out there and have a game tomorrow, and that's what we'd be talking about. I'm going to hit a few more comments in here as well. Because first off, Clayton came in here, and Clayton's always supporting the show. He always making sure to say, hey guys, smash that like and share button, and we appreciate that, man. If you have the opportunity to give us a thumbs up, a share, a like, we appreciate it, man. Costs you nothing, and sure helps us out a ton. Want to reach more Broncos fans like you, and have a fun show because we like to get to a lot of comments and talk about what you want to talk about. That's why we're transitioning. he was talking about that woulda, coulda, shoulda as well. He's saying that's football though, and he says 14-3 can't beat that, guys. We can't beat that. 14-3 is not what we expected heading into the season. Positive season though. Bo coaching, teamwork, never gave up until the clock said 0-0-0-0-0. Clayton, you're absolutely right, man. The team was devastated walking off the field. They thought they could win that game. And, I think there's a lot to be said about that. Big E Bronco, though, has been talking, and he's like, man, he wants to transition, man. He wants to start talking about this offseason a little bit. Man, I'm going to give him the justice and give him the cred here. He's saying, forget about Breece Hall. We talked about that a little bit earlier. He's really excited about Algier, and I missed an earlier one. I apologize, Big E Bronco, because this is the one I meant to do. He's talking a little bit about Travis Etienne out of Jacksonville. He's talking a little bit about Tyler Algier out of Atlanta. Couple of options that he sees as real potential for the Denver Broncos to land, and I think he's right, man. I think he's nailing it. These are guys that should be on the list of the Denver Broncos. George Payton, Sean Payton. How are you ranking those guys, and which one do you like, and why would you like them, and how would they help this team, Trevor?
Yeah, Keith, before we transition, I want to make a point to Broncos country as well.
Sure.
Because thinking about that loss against the Patriots, it's fine to take that time to dwell. But again, you have to think about the bigger picture. The Broncos were able to, it's progression. I mean, you're in Sean Payton's third season. You're able to make it to the AFC Championship game. You're the number one seed in the AFC. I mean, that's a big step from where you were even a year ago. Take time back from a year ago to now. Look how big of a step this team took. Didn't seem like it, especially offensively, but this team as a whole took a big step forward, and like just really development and just overall in general. Because that's the thing that's something really important. Like, you can go from one season not making the playoffs to reaching the Super Bowl, Keith and Posse, but rarely does that happen. You usually have to just get that experience throughout the playoffs, and eventually you get over that hump, or you don't get over that hump. That's the thing, though. This team is making progress, and that's something I think Broncos country should take account into is you have progress with this team, and you're seeing that right in front of your eyes. You're seeing Bo Nix continue to grow right in front of your eyes. You're seeing this defense continue to be one of the top units in the league right in front of your eyes, and you're going to get Vance Joseph back. I mean, that's a huge step forward for this team's positives. So we're thinking about the negatives with the Patriots and losing that game. I get that. One win away, you're at the Super Bowl. But here's the thing. If you go to the Super Bowl and you get your butt whipped, does that really matter from where you were? You lost the AFC Championship game, and it's like you still made big steps forward. You still make big strides forward. Now you can take this offseason even more aggressively. You can't be reckless with your draft picks. You can't be reckless with your cap space, but you can be more aggressive. You can take that next step up and be more aggressive. And that's just something Broncos country has to take into account is there's a lot of positives taken forward from this past season. Even though you lost an AFC Championship game, there was a lot of advantages. You had home field advantage, number one seed. I get all that, but doesn't mean that's always going to come easy. Sometimes you have to go through these rough patches to overcome them. And I think the Denver Broncos are on that path to doing so. They got to be aggressive this offseason. And I think you have that championship window opening up even more going into this offseason. But to answer your question, Keith, or answer Big E Broncos question, I mean, I think for me, it's Travis Etienne. I mean, he'd be high on my list. I do worry about the kind of the miles on some of these running backs. Tyler Algier, he's mainly been a backup there in Atlanta. Bijan Robinson, he's been the workhorse running back there. Algier just kind of always been in the mix. So fantasy football lovers, I mean, they just get tired of Tyler Algier sometimes because they want that workhorse running back. But Travis Etienne, I mean, this is a guy, listen, I thought had a chance to be released from Jacksonville because they got Brissol Tootin. Keith, that's your guy from the draft. And that's might be a player that Jacksonville ends up going with going forward. That's why Travis Etienne could be a guy that they expend and just let be a free agent, or maybe they possibly do bring him back. But I think that it could go either way. Travis Etienne would be pretty high on my list. That being said, I do think he has more experience being a workhorse running back. Tyler Algier, yes, he's been close to being a 1,000-yard running back, and some people say that doesn't matter. It does matter. I mean, it does matter very much so. And that's not the only thing that matters, but it does matter. He's got less miles on him, but again, you can't necessarily just go afford to miss at running back again. You really can't afford to miss at running back again. So whatever the Broncos do this offseason to solve the running back issue that this team has had for multiple seasons now, they've got to be able to pick the right guy personnel-wise, because you just took a guy in R.J. Harvey in the second round that can't be your lead back right now. And that's a pretty big price tag to pay in the deep running back draft class this past offseason for a guy that just, again, at this point can't lead this backfield. And so I think going forward for the Broncos, it's about finding the right guy to carry the load and again, carry this offense, a little bit more going forward on the ground game. You've got to improve the ground game. This offense, Keith, right now, as structurally sound, is not Super Bowl caliber. This defense absolutely is. This offense is not there yet. There's more strides to come from this offense, and it starts with getting that run game figured out and moving in the right direction. You started getting those strides a little bit with J.K. Dobbins. We all knew that he wasn't going to stay healthy all season long, but you got to go out there, spend, and reinvest into that running back room once again to get this offense back on the right page, specifically in the running game.
All right. Well, I hate to agree with you, but I'm gonna do exactly that. Travis Etienne would be my guy as well, Big E Bronco. And by the way, Sia Pearl, I understand some of us are fans of the Olympics, and if that's the case, go ahead, run off, have a great time. We'll talk about some Morgan trinkets here in just a moment, and talk about you a little bit more in the same instance. But Travis Etienne would be my guy. I like Tyler Algier, and as Big E Bronco saying, heck of a guy in the red zone, a guy that you can really count on as far as when it comes to Tyler Algier. What I like, though, about Travis Etienne is exactly what you're talking about. He's a guy that's had to carry the load. He's a guy that kind of carried the load quite a bit when Trevor Lawrence was still trying to get his feet underneath him. I like the fact that he is like an RB1. He's taken over that. He's been fairly dependable and fairly healthy throughout his career, so we're not taking a gamble there as well. If I had to go away, I would probably go Travis Etienne in between those two, but I do want to weigh in on one more thing, and I want to put this little bit on to you, Trevor, because I know you've been kind of talking in the background about this, but there's a lot of juggling you have to do. I mean, you might only have a measly $305 million to spend this year with the NFL salary cap. Might go up to 315. I mean, it's tough to balance numbers that are so measly like this. But that being said, draft picks, everything comes into play. How are you feeling about going into free agency, upgrading in that running back position versus swinging for it all in the draft?
Honestly, Keith, I'm one of those guys and I said this last offseason and kind of proved to be right in a way with J.K. Dobbins. I mean, again, you were going to get a full season at J.K. Dobbins. That's just who he was. But I would swing for both, honestly. I would swing in free agency and see what you can get. I think you need to at least pick up a veteran. It might not be top of the market veteran, but a guy like Rico Dowdle, if I could pick up a guy like Rico Dowdle, 1,000-yard running back, again, was a guy that I mentioned multiple times last offseason. I felt like the Broncos should target. I think he fits this offense and what they want to do, and they would use him well. And I would look to be aggressive in the draft at running back once again, because you can't afford to say, like, okay, we're going to try to develop R.J. Harvey. Okay, well, that's awesome, but again, he's a running back. This was the issue with selecting R.J. Harvey. Was he going to be able to fit and be a fit with what you wanted? Sean Payton, what he likes in his running backs, he likes a guy that can be read between the lines and get to the guards and the tackles and read the field very well. Pass blocker. You've got to be able to be a good pass blocker. You've got to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and be a good receiving back. Well, R.J. Harvey right now, he's still developing some of that into his game. He's not where he needs to be. So, honestly, for me, I would do both. I would reinvest in this running back room again because you need to. I mean, the guys behind J.K. Dobbins, it's not good enough. You can say R.J. Harvey, yeah, he had a fine season. Okay, great, fine. Add him to the mix of running backs in the running back room. More competition. But, again, you can't afford for this running back room once again to not have at least a 1,000-yard rusher, at least one of them in the game. And I understand Sean Payton likes to use multiple running backs. I get that. But it's not like he hasn't had, when he's had a running back that could, possibly be a lead back, he's had a guy that can get to, and be 1,000-yard rusher. So I think that's where this team's been missing. And that's the biggest difference. You look at these teams that are now in, their contention window. They have that kind of running back. You look at Seattle, they have Kenneth Walker. I mean, they have a guy they can lean on with their offense if their passing game isn't going. Denver doesn't have that. Keith, honestly, again, I'd go both. I'd go free agency route, depending on how big of a price you want to pay to move up into the draft. You got to at least pick up a veteran, I think, in free agency, at least one veteran, though, and then you reconvene in the draft and you figure out how aggressive you want to be. Denver has 9 total picks in this year's draft as well.
Got picks, you got free agents, but you keep adding. That means you also got to keep subtracting too. You're talking about possibly some major changes for this team. Big debate going on with the posse members. Jody is all on board with Travis Etienne. In fact, 1,000%. That's amazing to be at 1,000%. It's pretty tough to do. 100%, I believe it was always. I'm just kidding around. But Jody, the horseman, he's on board with Travis Etienne. But Big E Bronco, he's like Algier over his career, averaged 4.5 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns in the red zone. It is a great debate. I'm not. I could probably go back and forth and probably should even watch some more tape, even though it seems like we've been watching these guys both for a few years now. But go back, watch it. Maybe that's what these guys are going to be doing before they make a final decision on either one of them. I don't want to be stuck in the mix, Trevor. I don't want to be stuck in the mix of just adding a guy. You know what I mean? Because you're right, man. We need the guy, not a guy. We need the guy. And what I was alluding to you, if you weren't picking it up, is you and Jody like this little running back out of Notre Dame.
As he's going to talk about him.
And, weighing that option versus, because at that point, I don't know if you're needing, if you go that full route, it's gonna take a little bit, man. It's not going to be easy to get there. But I don't think you're worrying yourself even with a Rico Dowdle at that point. I think there is a little bit more run it back with the rest of the roster or whatever pieces and parts you can kind of put together. But I think your guy is set then at that point.
Yeah, I love Jeremiah Love. I mean, I've seen mock drafts have him, top 10, but it seems like right now mock drafts are having him a little bit lower, like in the 20s. And again, if you're Denver, I mean, I think this is a golden opportunity to go up and get the best running back in the draft. I truly feel like this guy is the best running back in the draft. It reminds me a lot of Bijan Robinson. He's built too. And he's just 20 years old. He'll be 21 years old in May. I mean, that's pretty young. And this is a guy that has fresh wheels. I mean, you don't got to worry about, it's like with some of these veterans, you got to worry about, they may not have a big injury history yet, but there's miles on some of these guys. And so running backs, we all know, don't last a long time in the NFL. And so I think that's something to kind of consider with Jeremiah Love. He's got fresh wheels. I mean, yeah, he's been a 1,000-yard rusher at Notre Dame. He's been very productive, but he's very young still. I think he can be a lead back for this team. And honestly, above and beyond, Keith, I would say I'm more in favor of Jeremiah Love more than any of them. I mean, more than any of these running backs. I would go the Jeremiah Love route, trade up in the draft. I would also try to secure some sort of veteran running back, like I said, like a Rico Dowdle, maybe not the top tier running back in free agency, but maybe a tick below them. But you're solidifying, you at least got a veteran back that you can use, and maybe more or less that J.K. Dobbins role, just a tick above, and a guy that you can count on to be a little more healthier on the field than J.K. Dobbins. I think that would be something in free agency that I would look at. And then you really push your chips in and go after Jeremiah Love, and you orchestrate that backfield. Of course, you're going to have to bring back maybe some of these like Jaleel McLaughlin they don't have to, but I'm saying they're going to need more depth in that running back room anyways. You'll have R.J. Harvey already part of that running back room. The point is, in the running back room, Keith, and this is the biggest thing, add more competition. Terrell Davis spoke just the other day how much you've got to add competition to this running back room, and he even talked about it throughout his career when he had some of his late injuries throughout his career. They brought in Clinton Portis and guys like that. I mean, so just more competition as the Super Bowl contention window opens up for the Denver Broncos can only benefit this team even more. So competition has to be added this offseason, but that would be more the route I would go. Jeremiah Love in the draft, move up to go get him. He's going to be, could be, very well so be your lead back and do a little bit of everything. And you go a veteran free agent route and go pick up a guy that can fill that J.K. Dobbins role.
All right, man. Well, we'll have to start doing some math here at some point and figure out how we're going to put this all together. But right now, I got to tell you about our amazing sponsor for a long time and continued sponsor. That's Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets is your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices. They've been whipping around the country for over 35 years, but now they're just concentrating on your backyard. That's Northern Colorado, Southern Wyoming, where they do shows, well, all winter long. They just wrapped up an amazing January. They had a fantastic January. They were out at Loveland, they were out at Longmont. They were doing all the shows almost every single weekend, and they're not leaving February out of the mix. This February 14th, sorry, I was just making sure I had everything in the Timber Dan Collector Show, Loveland Fairgrounds. That's where you're going to be able to check out Morgan Trinkets, all the Southwest Jewelry, all the Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices right there in person. If you can't get there, don't worry, got you all taken care of. Head on over to Etsy, type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. Or you can check them out over on eBay as well. Type in Pearl Heat over there on eBay. Morgan Trinkets, your headquarters, Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices. Check them out again, February 14th at the Dan Timber. What did I say that was again? I haven't been out to it because I'm not down there. The Timber Dan Collector Show. I'm sorry, Timber Dan Collector Show, Loveland Fairgrounds, February 14th. I'm going to go a different route, man. We're talking about upgrading that running back room. As Jody was saying, Bidet and McLaughlin, they're both free agents. A lot of people up in the air as far as what we should do with J.K. Dobbins as well, whether we bring him back or not. Now we're replenishing that whole room, and we just went through all that. I'm going to go on the other side of the ball and about as deep off the line and about the same position. Alex Singleton. Got a big decision there. Justin Sternad. Got a big decision there. You just got done talking about J.K. Dobbins. There was another guy on the other side of the ball, and Dre Greenlaw, who didn't play every single snap as well. And I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking the need to address that position as well. Who are you bringing back? Are you bringing back the 33-year-old Alex Singleton, and he's going to be your guy? You're losing Justin Sternad. He wants his opportunity to start. You have Dre Greenlaw in that mix as well, but he didn't show that he could stay healthy. And quite honestly, I think a lot of us thought we would see a lot more explosiveness and be yelling, yay, Dre Greenlaw, more than we were last season. It's not a place that we have a whole lot of depth, and you're now wanting to add more pieces into the running back room. Do we need to add more pieces into that linebacker room? What are we doing there, man?
Keith, and here's a rhythm with all of this. He feels like we were just talking about this last offseason. The same positions. I mean, running back, tight end, inside linebacker, it's the same positions we've been just got done talking about last offseason. It's crazy. I mean,
talking the truth, man.
Yeah. I mean,
praise, man. He's got truth up there coming out his mouth, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think for me, I think Dre Greenlaw's back. I will say, I do think he's back. Yeah, there's questions about him not being able to stay healthy and be on the field, but it's year one. I think when Dre Greenlaw's at his best, he's your best inside linebacker. The biggest question for me is are you bringing back Alex Singleton? Are you bringing back Justin Sternad? If you're bringing back Justin Sternad, it's going to have to be obviously a starter role. He's made that clear early on this offseason for teams that for all 32 teams that he wants a starting role. He wants to be a starting inside linebacker. So that's the biggest question. If you're the Denver Broncos, are you comfortable making Justin Strnad your starting inside linebacker or one of your starting inside linebackers? I mean, that's the biggest question for me. And I like Alex Singleton, but he's limited, obviously. He's getting older. It seems like there's injuries kind of are starting to pile up on him a little bit. I don't think the Broncos need to be necessarily worried about losing him day one of free agency by any means. I think that can be a decision that's made down the line about Alex Singleton. Do you bring him back? Do you not? Justin Strnad, I think he's a little bit going to be more prioritized by teams around the league. So you may have to make a decision on him a little bit sooner. But I think it's a topic that needs to be discussed for sure. Is like, okay, if you bring back Dre Greenlaw, who else are you going to? Who else is on the other side of him? Because you need some stability there at inside linebacker. Again, we've been talking about this. Seems like every offseason we're talking about inside linebacker. It's a repeat. So I think all scenarios need to be on the table for this team. I would lean probably towards not bringing back Alex Singleton right now. If somehow, some way down the line for depth purposes that works out, and you can bring back Alex Singleton for a little bit cheaper, fine. But I don't think it could be like Drake Greenlaw and Alex Singleton side by side. I don't think that's going to fit this team and fits what this team needs to do. So I would be looking at inside linebacker also in free agency. I would not be opposed though to also expanding Justin Strnad's role and bringing him back as a full-time starter for this team. And then again, maybe Keith, maybe this team might add an inside linebacker in the draft at some point in time. It's one of those positions that feels like this team neglects when it comes to the draft is linebackers, especially since Drew Sanders, which again, there's Drew Sanders that hasn't be played in the full. At what point in time, does he step up or does he not? I think his clock is ticking more and more as time goes on, and I think his butt is going to be on the line come this season into training camp, as if he can't be on the field and stay healthy, improve to make this 53-man roster. We might be talking about Drew Sanders being cut from this roster when it's all said and done. So a lot of different scenarios. Inside linebacker has to be solved. I think to keep Drake Greenlaw. Other than that, I think you have a question. At inside linebacker as well.
Yeah, it's Drew Sanders, man. Drew Sanders was going to be a big part. That was, by all reports, he was supposed to be a big part of this defense. And then, of course, injury hits him, and once again, we're set backwards. And like you said, once again, we keep talking about the same positions. We get done talking about running back. We go over to the inside linebacker. And Kenny's coming in here and saying Eric Anzalone, Keith, a little pricey, but good, and draft a day 2 linebacker for some depth. That's his 2 cents, and another horseman giving his thoughts on that as well. Patrick Wiltsey wants us to maybe trade for Myles Garrett, which would just be insane if we were able to add that type of piece to our defense. But just continuing on the whole side of things, Biggie Bronco saying there's a lot of inside linebackers in this draft, and I can't wait to really start breaking into some potential draft picks and draft day coverage and all the prospects that will be soon on the lips of everybody. Trevor, it's right around the corner as the Super Bowl is just tomorrow. Biggie Bronco also just talking about this, and then, like I said, going full circle. Most likely Minnesota is going to have to cut TJ Hawkinson, go after him. Tight end position is also not a place that we have a whole lot of comfort after going out last year and swinging for the fences and getting our joker and our utility knife of a player, I guess you could say, our Swiss Army knife. That's what I was looking for. Swiss Army knife and one Evan Ingram. We still have a lot of questions when it comes to tight end. And another place that we'd like to upgrade, TJ Hawkinson, man. Best upgrade out there when it comes to it in your mind? Does he make the top of the list of players that you should target?
I think he's on the list. I wouldn't. The thing with TJ Hawkinson is, again, it's injuries. I mean, he's dealt with them time and time again, multiple times throughout a season. So, again, this is where I'm double dipping. I mean, I just talked about it at running back. I'm double dipping at tight end, and this is the thing, Keith. Like, why why are the Broncos so hesitant to take a tight end and to develop him? Like, yes, Caleb Lohner in the 7th round. Okay, well, Rondé Gaddison was there for the taking, and you, it was a guy that was, I'm again high on multiple times, and they bypassed that, went to the 7th round to pick up Caleb Lohner. And what has Caleb Lohner done so far? I mean, and again, we knew Caleb Lohner was going to be more of a project. I get that. And we'll see. I mean, I'm not ready to totally give up on Caleb Lohner just yet. But again, the tight end position is another position where I'm like, you need to double dip. You've got to, go get a veteran. We'll see what they do with Evan Ingram. I think Evan Ingram, it's a 50-50 shot he's back or he's gone. If you are going to keep Evan Ingram, you got to go out there and get a tight end. I think you got to double dip in general, even if you are bringing back Evan Ingram. I think that you'd be safer doing that than just relying upon Evan Ingram and then a rookie tight end. So double dipping at tight end is another, position where I want the Denver Broncos to look at. The Keith, as I was going to mention,
can I mention just one thing real quick? Just one thing. Just hold me 2 seconds, because I missed this earlier, and I just wanted to say hello to Vic, who came in, and I haven't seen Vic before. He came in on YouTube and said, yo, and go, Bo, go. And then we just had another face that popped in that I hadn't seen before over on Facebook. Donnie Claus coming in here saying, go Broncos. And I just wanted to recognize a couple of our Posse members. We always try to do that, man. Now pick it right up after that, man. Thanks, Posse members, coming in here and state in your face.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, Keith, I 100% agree. I would love to see more Posse members in here and talking football. I was going to mention, though, this is kind of fun. It's kind of reflection, though, of like, these are names we heard, about, for the Denver Broncos last offseason, like free agents. A name that, gosh dang, another guy I wanted for this team that, I mean, has had a great season in New England. Robert Spillane. You know how great he would have been here in Denver? I mean, and the kind of addition he would have brought to this team. Again, I'm not against the Drake Greenlaw signing yet, because I want to see, if he continues on this roster, I want to see it play through before I can totally judge it and judge that move. But Robert Spillane looks like a steal right now for the New England Patriots. That was a name the Denver Broncos were looking at last offseason. And Robert Spillane himself said he was interested in coming to Denver. And so it's really interesting to see some of the names that the Broncos were interested last offseason to, where we're at right now and seeing these guys, the scenarios play out in themselves and maybe some of the misses the Broncos had and whatnot. And again, every team's, they're not going to be perfect with their moves. They're going to have mistakes. And, right now it looks like the New England Patriots got a pretty good deal with Robert Spillane. So I just kind of wanted to mention that as well. And some of this is reflection time. So, this past offseason, teams adding players, maybe the Broncos were going to bring in. We've heard Stephon Diggs' name being thrown out there before. Now we've heard Robert Spillane. I mean, multiple names being thrown out there that could have, quote unquote, been Broncos. So that actually having good seasons for their teams.
Well, it's funny. That was going to be my transition, man. You nailed it, man. You almost took the transition right out of my mouth, man. Because you're right, man. We talked about Robert Spillane. The linebacker position is one that just kind of jumps to the front of my mind. Again, this season, we talked about the tight end. Maybe Kyle Pitts comes into that conversation. But when we start talking about names like maybe coulda, woulda, kinda, shoulda, who knows what could have happened, you're right, man. Now we're hearing that Stephon Diggs had the possibility of maybe coming to Denver. And I don't know if you heard this one, but Jalen Waddle had the potential of coming to the Denver Broncos. In George Payton, we're going to be in on every deal situation. They were deals we were in on but didn't get done. And I think it is the last position I want to hit. I think wide receiver is another one that is not not out of the subject as far as being upgraded once again, because I think there's potential there. And let's face it, a lot of people are crying for maybe some big names to come in here and be added to this roster when it comes to wide receiver.
Yeah, I think wide receiver is something that you have to look at for it. But here's the thing, Keith, and I've argued with multiple people on Twitter about this, is Jalen Waddle.
You're just out there arguing with people on Twitter? Go check out Trevor Salzman out on Twitter, man. He'd love to argue with you out there. No, I love it, man. That's what it's there for, I think.
Yeah,
X,
exactly.
by the way. The X.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
X marks the spot.
There you go.
But no, I mean, because with Jalen Waddle and Keith, you can see if I'm wrong or not about this. I don't think Jalen Waddle is the number one wide receiver, though. I don't think he's the number one caliber wide receiver. I think you're getting a very good number two wide receiver. So you have Cortland Sutton. I think, again, in the right world, he's a really good number two. I think we can say that. I mean, he's the number one wide receiver on this team, yes. But you also have a very young wide receiver room. So we'll see what these guys, going into the second, third years and fourth years, what they end up turning into. I think they'll get that opportunity. But Jalen Waddle, there's some people that are so desperate for a wide receiver that they'd be willing to trade a first-round pick for a number two wide receiver. Make sense, I guess, for me. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on Jalen Waddle, and I would love to hear them, but that's my biggest thing is yes, he's a really good number two complete wide receiver, but he's not a number one. He's not in that top tier caliber. If I'm going to trade up a first-round pick, that's probably what I'm looking for is that, tier one caliber wide receiver, for sure number one, wide receiver, not a for sure number two wide receiver. Are you that desperate that you've got to trade a first-round pick for that?
I mean, you got to really see it, man. And that's the only way I can necessarily justify the first round pick for a guy like Jalen Waddle, right? Because you do have some amazing minds. You have Sean Payton. We have maybe a potential play caller, Davis Webb. We have George Payton. We have some amazing minds, that I've come to trust. And I think Broncos country have come to trust. If you see Jalen Waddle, what he puts on tape, and say, he had Tua. That was his best he had. I think with what we have, our team, Bo Nix, the other pieces we can put around this guy's a number one, and he's going to be our number one, then you go and you do it. You know what I mean? I saw Emmanuel Sanders be basically the number one, where I didn't know if he was the number one when he was in Pittsburgh. But that's where he came from, and boy, howdy, did he basically almost take that position. I don't know if you call him a one or a two, but boy, it was up in the air, it seemed, each year who was really going to be snagging more balls and pulling down 1,000-yard seasons, him or whoever was around him at that time. It just that's the only way I can justify it. Now, do I like it? Am I like, oh man, I think that's the steal of the century? No, it's more of a, I've got faith in you. Now you got to prove it to me. So, yeah, I'm falling a little bit more in love with this whole A.J. Brown talk a little bit, man. Just because of what he would be lined up opposite of a guy like Cortland Sutton. Because do you have a Jalen Waddle in a guy like a Marvin Mims or a Troy Franklin? Kind of already do. You know what I mean? Is he bringing that much of a difference in between? It's like all of a sudden Jalen Waddle is that big of a difference than Marvin Mims. I feel like I might have the same guy there in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? You bring in an A.J. Brown, you don't have another A.J. Brown on this roster. Well, it's not a whole lot of A.J. Browns out there, quite honestly, but you don't have another A.J. Brown on this roster. And he'd line up amazingly as a complement to Cortland Sutton. And then you really start to free up some of those guys on the interior as well, man. We got about 10 minutes left, and want to hit some more thoughts along the Super Bowl. Unless this conversation just keeps on going, but I at least want to get a prediction in, and if nothing else, before we get out of here from everybody, before we get out of here. More thoughts, though, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Here's a name that I would love in Denver. I think he fits the Broncos to a T, and it wouldn't cost you a lot from a draft pick standpoint to get him. That's Mike Evans, Keith. Is there a guarantee he's going to go back to Tampa Bay? I mean, I think there's more doubt than ever he's going to go back to Tampa Bay. They just selected Emeka Buku in the first round last year. They just paid Chris Godwin. They got Tez Johnson on that team. I mean, they've got other wide receivers. Who's to say that Tampa Bay, yeah, maybe they want Mike Evans back. Would Mike Evans want to go back to Tampa Bay? I mean, I know he spent a lot of his career there. Well, I would suggest he's probably leaning to going back to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But if he became available, Keith, I mean, talk about a leader of men with Mike Evans, a Hall of Famer next to Cortland Sutton. and these wide receivers. What better way for these young wide receivers to learn from than a guy like Mike Evans, a big threat downfield? Mike Evans walks on the field, Keith. He's a threat downfield without even getting the ball. Teams immediately are like, we got to stop Mike Evans. I mean, you could see it when you watch Tampa Bay Buccaneers games. That's the thing. And so I think for me, that's an end that I'm watching out there for. And with A.J. Brown, and like I know Jody's mentioned George Pickens, the personalities, like it doesn't mix, I think, with this locker room. And the talent is off the charts, don't get me wrong. But the locker room presence and what the Broncos value from a locker room presence, I just don't know if it fits with that, with those guys. Like, and that's my biggest question is I think you got to bring in a wide receiver. If you're going to go get a wide receiver, and for me, wide receiver is not as high of a priority for me as other people, I think, suggest. For me, it's running back, tight end, first and foremost. But you've got to get a guy that matches this locker room. The last thing you need is a guy that's got to demand the ball all the time, and he's cancerous in the locker room, because that can affect a locker room big time into what you're building, and you've built up all these seasons with. That's my only concern with like A.J. Brown or George Pickens is they're not necessarily the best of personalities per se, I think, with locker rooms. And so this is something I worry about. But
I want to push back just a second, because every once in a while you need an Aqib Talib if you're going to make it, and you're going to push yourself over the top, and you're going to make a Super Bowl. You can have all the DeMarcus Wares on your team, and try to have all the choir boys, but every once in a while you need to go out there and have a Aqib Talib that's going to be ripping chains, man. And it feels like I said, me and you, Trevor, man, we're usually lockstep, but it really feels like this. This is the season, man. You got to take a few risks. You got to push your chips in a little bit. You got to take those opportunities to put yourself in the best position and put yourself over the top. I don't want to wager the entire future. I don't want to give up all my draft picks for one guy. I'm not talking crazy talk, but I'm also, we were close on Stephon Diggs, but didn't do it. We were close on Jalen Waddle, but we didn't do it. You got to find a way to put yourself in the position where we're saying, not, hey, I'm so glad we were so close, and we were in the conversation, but we brought one of these guys in, and we got the deal. I mean, like you said, what would this team be? How different would this AFC Championship game been in particular if it would have been Stephon Diggs on the Broncos versus, being on the Patriots? I mean, just as a scenario. Pickens, I see Pickens more than likely will be tagged, as we have Roy Osborne. He's coming in over on YouTube now. Patrick Wiltsey coming in. He was dropping 50 stars. Patrick, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, man.
Seriously.
Stars to you. Mile high salute for any star giver, man. I mean, that's going to be a new thing, I think, man. You got to give that up to you guys. Appreciate you being in here and supporting the show, and even Kenny saying thanks to you, Patrick, as well. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a lot of upgrades, I think, this season. I think we're going to be more excited than what we've seen in years past, about hopefully who we're bringing in, who we're re-signing, where we're going in the draft. This team seems like they're heading with the Super Bowl in 2027 in mind, I guess is the best way to put it, my friend. Speaking of the 2026, though, Super Bowl, Martin's maybe not on board with Evans and being 32, but like you said, man, as far as checking the boxes, as far as the locker room, leadership, stuff like that, definitely ticks some boxes there as well.
Well, and I still think he's your number one wide receiver. He walks into Denver right now, he's your number one wide receiver. Yeah, I know he missed a lot of games last year, but that's the first time in his career. I mean, most of his career, he's been reliable and on the field for your guy. And I think he would be a big target for Bo Nix. That's 6'5", walking out there in the field. And again, teams would have to double team him right away. And that was going to only free up Cortland Sutton. That's only going to free up Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims. I mean, just Mike Evans' presence on the field itself, not only in the locker room, he's also won Super Bowl before. He just brings and checks a lot of boxes for this team if he becomes available. Big if, but if he becomes available, I think he'd be one of my top targets in free agency if the Broncos could find a way to get him. It'd be huge.
There you go. I would also say George Pickens being tagged, you can still acquire a guy who's on the franchise tag. You could. There's a lot of different ways that you can still facilitate that. It usually means him signing that franchise tag and then you figuring out a contract after that. But a franchise tag guy, you could still go after George Pickens. Kenny's saying he likes Alec Pierce. That's just another name that could be floating around out there.
He's smaller,
the one thing
though.
but he was also the third. I was debating with a horseman and Jody Moncrief a little bit about this earlier, and man, here's a guy that had the number 3 in deep yardage targets, over 468 yards and deep yards. He can take the top off, but then we get back into that same conversation. Do we have that guy? I'm looking for somebody different, I think. What I'm also looking for is maybe some of those Super Bowl predictions. As you all are getting those in there, and I'm going to get to one up here. And Trevor, you got 2 things to think about because you talked a little bit about this earlier. I don't know if you're doing this tomorrow, but if you could, man, favorite items to put on the spread for the Super Bowl, you got to give me a few. What would you be putting out there, or are you putting out there tomorrow? By the way, a first prediction came in from Roy, and he stole mine. I'm just to give you a little heads up. Seahawks 34-17. Roy, thanks for the first prediction, Super Bowl prediction. By the way, I forgot to mention that Patrick Wiltsey is giving away a little Lion Coffee package to the closest prediction, or if you happen to nail it, the prediction of the Super Bowl score. We got 34-17 Seattle Seahawks. I need who's going to win and what the score is. And since we have so many Posse members, and since Lion Coffee is freaking amazing and everybody will want to win it, tell me who the MVP is going to be, because if there's a tie, that's the tiebreaker as well. Roy, let me know your tiebreaker and anybody else who's coming in. But Trevor, your duty's now been in the kitchen now for a while. You've been whipping some things up for Super Bowl, man. And what are you putting out for me for a wonderful spread? What would you be putting out or are putting out?
I like to do cheese dip. And it's a hamburger cheese dip that we get, Velveeta cheese. I mean, it really goes really well because you can just grab some from the pot, put it on your plate, put some chips on there, and go. It doesn't take forever to do. That's one of the things that I would be putting out there. Also, another one like prime rib, or some sort of meat to go along with it is I think a specialty. Usually sometimes I do pasta, but I'm not sure if pasta is going to be the thing this year. But again, meat, ribs, something like that. Depends on also how many people were at my house. But I love doing a meat and some sort of dip. For this instance, it's going to be cheese dip. Cheese dip, chili has also been something that I've done in the past. That goes really well with cinnamon rolls. You can't have chili without cinnamon rolls, in my opinion. And so that's something that I've always done for a Super Bowl, standpoint. Still got to kind of think about a little bit of what exactly I'm going to be putting out tomorrow and what I'm going to be eating. But I have some things in mind for sure that I'm going to be putting out there on the table, and looking forward to stuffing my face a little bit for, again, a holiday, what seems like anymore a growing holiday in the Super Bowl, regardless of who's in it. I'd love to see the Broncos in it, of course, and hopefully next year. But again, got to celebrate a holiday. Just wish, your work would give you the next day off.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. We could sure deserve that. It should be. It should be celebrated as such. I'll give you mine. Patrick, you're right, man. Ooh, chili cheese dip. Yeah, man. I forgot about. Yeah, I haven't done a good chili cheese dip in a long time. Patrick's getting me all scrumdiddlyumptious, all set up. Also, man, I haven't thought about chili and cinnamon rolls together in probably 20 years, man.
Oh wow.
I mean, maybe it's I grew up a lot of time in Utah, and maybe that's where I was turned on to it, and it's not as big up here in Montana. I don't know. I just have not thought about chili and cinnamon rolls and being paired up. But you're absolutely right, man. That was a kind of a a wild pairing that when you first think about it, you'd be like, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take your hamburger cheese dip,
Mm-hmm.
and well, I'm not gonna do it. It's my amazing wife, Deb. Hello, Deb. Thanks for always taking care of me. She takes it to another level, and she's doing it tomorrow, as a matter of fact, because she was getting it all ready. Chorizo sausage with some rotilla green chilies and the Velveeta. Whoo, doggy. That's a little
Jeez.
spicy little cheese dip there for you. That'll keep you a little sweat going if the team isn't making you sweat on the screen there, man. So that's a good one. I honestly I like just like a nice like thin crust pizza. It could be just like pepperoni, sausage, thin crust, just easy peasy. Cut it all up, serve it all up. Really, really nice. I mean, I'm an easy pleaser as far as that concerned. And then beer. I'm just kidding. No, no, but all honesty, man. Yeah, I'm a homebody. I'm hanging out here. You know, I'll throw back a drink or two during the game, but
Or
never to
sometimes
the
3 or
point.
4.
Yeah, well, yeah, it depends on how, you know. But honestly, man, I enjoy the game, man. So I never want to be like not paying attention to the game. I never get
Yeah.
out of control, man.
Right.
Pizza burritos is an idea.
Wow.
Says Roy, man, that's a great one. Patrick, poor guy, he's over there in 74-degree rains over there in Hawaii and eating roasted pig cooked in the ground. Yeah, that would be on the top of my list, man. That would be a top of list type of situation for a Super Bowl, man. That
Throw
would
some
be,
coffee back as well.
there you go, man. There you go. Maybe we got the coffee crusted, you know what I mean? Like in a barbecue, you know. They do all types of stuff. Slowest day of the year at the hospital. Facts, says Kenny Kirkpatrick, who tends to work there. Trevor, I kind of gave away my prediction. I put it out there early. I was going to come back in here and with you and give my same prediction as well. Oh, Kenny, that spinach dip, yeah. Spread various cheeses, bring various cheeses to my parties, but that spinach dip, man. I'm sorry, got sidetracked by Kenny's spinach dip. No, I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be a competitive game. I'm hoping my prediction is wrong, honestly. I was starting to think through, even when I was trying to imagine the Broncos and the wreaking havoc type of defense they could maybe bring to Sam Darnold and maybe having him see ghost again. And, you know, there's a potential that maybe this could be a little bit more of a competitive game. But how do you see it coming about tomorrow? What is your prediction for this game?
Yeah, I believe I gave my prediction on the juice, and I think I said 27-14 Seahawks. I just think that they're the better team. And John Schneider, that GM there, he's done such a great job building that team. And really, he's been there since 2010, so he's got a chance to draft Russell Wilson. He got a chance to, form that Legion of Boom together. I mean, and then forming this team together with Mike McDonald. So I think, again, the Seattle Seahawks team, they're just well put together. Their defensive line up front, it's very stout. I think the Patriots, I think it'll be competitive at first. I think the Patriots are going to be competitive. Mike Vrabel, I can't imagine Mike Vrabel team going in to any game and not being competitive, or at least having a chance to win. I will say Seattle cannot afford for Drake May in this Patriots offense just to kind of stick around. But I think if you can get pressure on Drake May and get into his face and get it, kind of get after him a little bit, I think it can make a very long day for this Patriots offense. Josh McDaniels, as we can just continue to say, don't like Josh McDaniels, of course, in Denver. A lot of people don't, but he is a heck of an offensive mind. Just won assistant coach of the year as well just the other night. But it's going to be a fun game, really a battle of the coordinators, Clint Kubiak versus Josh McDaniels, Mike McDonald, see what he can do and form that defense. And if they can continue that success defense out of the ball, I think they can. That's why I have a 27-14 Seattle Seahawks victory as they win Super Bowl 60. And they do a great job all season long just coming together and building that roster. Again, John Schneider, he's a guy, Keith, that I think is not getting enough credit and love for how he's orchestrated this team, bringing in Sam Darnold, which a lot of people thought, what the heck are they doing bringing in Sam Darnold? Like, Yeah, he was in Minnesota for a while. He had a lot of success there, but there's no way he's going to Seattle and going to be able to put up better numbers than Geno Smith, and that's probably the pickup of the year or possible pickup of the year in Sam Darnold. So a lot of credit to John Schneider and what he's done there for that that Seattle Seahawks organization. But I do think they will become victorious.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are along those lines. Your MVP is going to be
Devon Witherspoon, the cornerback. A fun fact, Keith. I said it on the Juice on Tuesday. He was a part of the Russell Wilson trade, but really the only biggest piece to work out in that Russell Wilson trade. I think he'll get a couple interceptions and lead this Seattle Seahawks team to victory defensively.
Man, that's a hot take, and I'm sure if you had a little bit of pizza money, as they said, and you put it on Devon Witherspoon, that would come back good for you. Kenny Kirkpatrick coming in with a 20-17 victory for the Seahawks. Paul had me giggling as you were talking because he says, like and subscribe, you freeloaders. So I love it, man. I appreciate the support, Paul. And you almost had Kenny saying things he wasn't supposed to on the air the other night, too. I saw on our podcast. So you're a kick, Paul. I appreciate, man. Posse members, you're amazing. 34-17 is where I did have this game predicted at. Like I said, I really hope it's more of a competitive game. I guess at the same time, if it's a 34-17 victory for the Seattle Seahawks, we might see Drew Lock take a couple of snaps and kneel down the ball at the end of the game. For any of you Drew Lock fans out there, I was a little bit of a Drew Lock fan. I'll be honest, man. And I would, don't know if he'll ever get his opportunity again, but he might have a Super Bowl ring come the end of the game tomorrow. And that's kind of how I see it playing out. Now, I will say, like I said, if the Patriots can get in there, if they can start getting after Sam Darnold, they can get him off rhythm. It's the way that the Denver Broncos were going to have to do it. The New England Patriots are great at scheming things up. They've been doing it ever since Bill Belichick. They can have, seems like 11 guys on the line of scrimmage and rush 2. You know what I mean? And you just don't know what's going to happen. And that type of football in this day and age is king. I mean, this quarterbacks are way too good at being able to split the field, see zone, see man, bring a guy in motion, know exactly what you're doing. If you're just sitting up there at the line of scrimmage and nobody's moving as you're running guys all over the place, it's a pure guessing game. That's a big advantage if you can also play good, solid defense behind that. So it'll be interesting to see. Like you said, I think could be a good game, close. It'll be a matter of whether they can continue through the entire game. Will the Seattle Seahawks be able to take huge, big shots and open it up and have the Patriots reeling and having to back out of that coverage so that they're better protected? Because if that's the case, then it's game over at that point too, in my opinion. So that's what I'll be looking for, hoping for a better game. Patrick Wiltsey's trying to win his own coffee. He might just do it. 28-10 Seahawks win. Lawrence is the MVP with 4 sacks. Couple of defensive MVPs. I said JSN. I thought I was going a little bit off because how do you get JSN without Sam Darnold? And I think that would be the question at that point. It's like, how come Sam Darnold didn't get it? But he got the MVP, and then the Super Bowl MVP goes to JSN. I could see that happening as well. Man, final thoughts. By the way, Kenny's coming in here. He says, Keith, I want to say thank you to Patrick from all of us at the Juice and DBR. Lion Coffee to the winner who comes closest to the score and the correct and if we need to, obviously that correct MVP winner as well is what we'll be looking at as far as the tiebreaker. But the real winner is us because we have an amazing friend like Patrick. Kenny, thanks for pointing that out, man. Lion Coffee, Patrick, I appreciate you a ton for coming in here and helping support our show in so many ways. In fact, coming on as a guest from time to time. You'll see Patrick as well. Final thoughts. We got to get out of here, man.
Yeah, final thoughts from me. I mean, we're kind of in that strange point where, we're about ready to head into the Super Bowl. Me and Keith said it earlier. It's Super Bowl Eve right now, and so of course, looking forward to watching Super Bowl, but also after the fact, you see some of these teams starting to get better around the league, and the new league year starting to open up, and we can truly talk about offseason stuff, and we're already starting to kind of get into that already, and looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing how the Broncos, George Paton, Sean Payton, orchestrate this roster and build this roster for next year. It's one of my favorite times of the year, just seeing some of these great minds around football put together their team and put together their staff as they head into next season, and one day hopes of winning the Super Bowl and hosting that Lombardi Trophy. So looking forward to seeing all that happen this offseason and really be here with everybody else to break everything down, and anything from free agency to the draft, the training camp, everything. Looking forward to it all. But, want to thank the Posse members, of course, for watching live and after the fact. Please like, share, subscribe. We really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's support, and hopefully everybody, if you're watching, enjoys the Super Bowl. Of course, I also understand if you're not going to watch the Super Bowl. I totally get it. But hope Broncos country and everybody out there, our Posse members, have a great rest of their weekend. And as always, be safe. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Absolutely, man. Paul's thinking it's going to be one of them Super Bowls, he says. 41-7 in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. I hope I have reason to stick around longer than that. It's the last game of the year. I just want to see one last good game.
Keith might be asleep on the couch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe there'll be a reason to pick up a couple more of those beers. Exactly. You got it, man. Kenny Kirkpatrick coming in here saying, great show. Appreciate you, Kenny. It's always great, man. Rocking in here with the Posse. Trevor is a great co-host. Kenny, you can check him out, man. We have multiple shows. We have this Saturday show that we're doing right here, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Sorry, with my computer issues, we were a little bit late. We got you the full hour. Don't worry, we got you there. Tuesdays, you can check out The Juice, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. They don't just talk about the Broncos. They talk about all the NFL football teams. They talk about college football, man. It's going to be wild right now over there on The Juice, man. You got to check them out. And then we also come back right back on Wednesday, Tuesday right to Wednesday, come back with another episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, talking about your Denver Broncos, everything they'll be needing to do this offseason. We'll have you covered there as well. So three times a week, man. I guess no more pregame or postgame shows for us for a little while, Trevor, but that's okay. They'll be back soon enough, and we'll have lots of other things to be talking about, let alone who knows what type of breaking news we're going to have this offseason. Love those podcasts as well. Thanks a lot to Morgan Trinkets. Again, your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery Estate, gold wholesale prices. They really do help us out a ton as our sponsor and help out you a ton if you're ever in need of any of those pieces. People have been buying from them for over 35 years. That's the place to do it if you're looking for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Gold wholesale prices. But we do got to get out of here. Hope everyone has a fantastic Super Bowl. Be safe. Don't do any drinking or driving. There's plenty of Ubers and everything else out there these days. Go see your bartender. He'll set you up with a ride, I'm for sure, if you're in that predicament. But have a great one. Hope it's a fantastic game, and can't wait to see you all again soon. For the Denver Bronco Roundup, we're going to get out of here the way we always do. Boots in the stirrup, guns in the holsters. Of course, the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next episode, we're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. Happy Super Bowl.